Extreme Anime Radio.
Welcome you, one and all, to the Extreme Anime Radio podcast on this December the 11th, 2024. Welcome to all of our Twitch viewers. Welcome to all of our YouTube viewers. Welcome all to our podcast listeners. I'm JR, and joining me on the other side of the screen is the one and only Neff Canuck. Hello, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. Enjoying the sights and sounds of Osaka tonight behind me, or Sotonbori, if you watched our previous streams. Meanwhile, you're in the holiday spirit, I see.
Yes, well, it is that time of year. You know, some bright lights behind me, even though my lighting for tonight seems to be a little bit too bright and too dark. It's like that wonderful combination.
Well, we're surrounded by hearts and bacon emoji and crocheted heart emoji all the way around the chat tonight. So we welcome everybody in the chat. And like I said, we welcome all of our listeners and viewers of our podcast. Remember to find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Extreme Anime Radio. You can also search for the Extreme Anime Radio podcast on YouTube or go to XARpodcast.net to listen to us wherever you are. And speaking of listening, I have made a few changes at the request of a few people, including Neff, with regards to our audio, because in the last few shows, there seemed to be a little bit of an imbalance between my audio and Neff's audio. I was too loud and he was too low, which means you could hear plenty of me. You couldn't hear enough of Neff. So hopefully I've equalized that. And please let me know in the comments how we're sounding tonight, or if you're watching or listening to us after the fact, leave us a note and let us know if we need to make any further adjustments. So hopefully, Neff, your audio has been fully adjusted.
Well, the audio's fully adjusted. Me, myself, chiropractor has to do his job. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm giving myself a try with a new chiropractor, which I haven't been to since my previous chiropractor shut down after COVID, believe it or not. So I've just been given my foot orthotics. I've worn them in the past. Now I have a new pair, which I have to break into again. So, 3 hours a day for about a week, and then an hour a day extra after that. So do you wear foot levelers?
We tried that. It just made my walking worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the problem is that I have bad balance to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've had my leg shortened by several accidents. One on my lower leg, one on my hip.
Yeah.
So right now getting around is sort of like, just be gentle. Don't do anything too stupid. Unlike last week where I was away at a conference, and thanks to an Apple Mac screw up, I ended up walking a total of 9 kilometers that one day, including an hour and a half back to my hotel from the conference center site for what was supposed to be a 15-minute walk.
Interesting.
15 minutes for me, yeah.
And this is all because your map, so your GPS got screwy?
It went completely bonkers, I think, because where I was, it was just all buildings.
Mm-hmm.
initially, so it couldn't orient me properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I looked down and I said, wait a minute, something's wrong. By this time it's snowing, folks. And I start shaking the thing and I'm going, oh, wait a minute. I have walked way out of town and it's like getting creepy and dark. And I'm like, okay, I better turn around real quick and be real careful. Because by now I am not wearing shoes meant to be worn outside in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been snowing now for about 10, 20 minutes at that point.
Yeah, boy, well, tis the time of year, I guess, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to snow, which is why I actually left early, because there was a final session that I could have stayed for, but I was like, no, I want to get back to the hotel before it starts snowing, give myself a break before dinner.
Right.
Oh, and then dinner.
Uh-oh.
I'd forgotten that because of the majority of the attendees, it was vegetarian. And let me put it this way, after an hour and a half of walking, if I was so desperate for protein, but there was nothing to be no real protein to be had. At least nothing that would satisfy my guts.
Oh, my condolences. Oh, my goodness. What did you end up having then?
Well, I basically stuck to the rice and the salad and hoped to God that it would tide me over till the morning, because at least the morning would have had breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Would have had being the operative word, because I had to leave the hotel room early to get to the conference center, because some genius in scheduling decided, let's start at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And that means getting out of the hotel room, again, driving and putting the stuff in the car. I had to be out and at my car by 8:30 with all my crap. Yeah, just... But the things you do to keep your law license, you know.
Right. A few of these trips you have to do every year, right?
Well, there's normally one a year you have to do, and then there are some that are optional depending on, you know, what you need, etc.
Right.
Now, the trick is I have until the end of this year to do a few more hours. I'm just going to watch some pre-recorded stuff, which is fine. But it's more like... I was at least dressed warmly enough up top that I didn't freeze.
Mm-hmm.
But my bag and my roller case were covered in snow by the time I got back. I had to shove them into the roll-in shower and let them thaw out there.
Well, I don't know, how I could compare right now, because I really have no plans, at least for the immediate future, to go out of the house, so.
Well, I don't have any plans either, because my employer basically told me last Friday he sent me an email on Wednesday, which I didn't see till Friday, that guess what? You're off the rest of the year because you have to use all your vacation days. The best part is, it wasn't my direct boss telling me this. It was the HR person with whom I've had, conflict. And so I went to my immediate supervisor and said, did you know about any of this?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, we know. We've got coverage. But I could tell she was not happy. But what am I going to do? I get told, get out. I'm like, okay, fine. I leave.
Yeah,
I just have to prep for next weekend or next week.
My job, I have a few more vacation days left that I have to use. If not, they force it on me some way, somehow. So sort of in the same boat this time. And then, we'll try to keep myself busy. Vacation for the new holiday, Nefmas? What is Nefmas, Liz? Nef, what is Nefmas? Is that a new Festivus for the rest of us? It's called Nefmas?
Well, if it means, getting up at a semi-reasonable hour and doing my physio stretched out over time and actually being able to watch some anime, which is nice, and not having to, constantly say, okay, do I have a half hour here or a half hour there, but actually watch a few episodes and let, some plot boil and simmer in my head.
We're gonna talk about anime and Japan stuff here in a little bit, but as you know, we love to talk about sports here on the podcast, and we're gonna talk about one new New York Met.
Oh yeah, all I can say is I looked at the contract numbers, and I went, okay, that's baseball. There's no luxury tax. Nobody cares. Actually, no. Technically, there's a luxury tax. There's not a luxury cap.
Yes.
The other sports have a hard cap or semi-hard. Baseball just says, hey, you got it, spend it. So, of course, you have your big market teams like the Yankees, the Mets, and the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And meanwhile, as I said to JR off air, the Toronto Blue Jays, the local team to me, we go shopping in the bargain bin and see what we can dig up.
So it looks like it's been, he had his, he's going to have his official introductory press conference tomorrow, Thursday, because earlier this afternoon, they finalized the deal. So, yes, a 15-year contract, $765 million. And as soon as this news broke earlier in the week, I see some of my friends say on social media that Steve Cohen, who is the owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen is Thanos. Do you agree with that, Neff?
I don't think he's Thanos. I think he's insane. Because here's the thing. From what I read, this deal also has an opt-out clause. Now, it's not clear to me. I think it's Soto's opt-out clause after 5 years. And I'm going, wait a minute here. He could potentially get even more money in 5 years. And I'm going, no, this is insane. Like, okay, baseball is going to self-immolate if they're literally just allowing, the big market teams to just, spend everything, making these players, ultra billionaires.
Right.
And like I said, the small market teams like, your Pittsburghs, your Tampas, right? They can't compete with that. I mean, I almost said the A's, but we know where the A's are going. And, I think in a few years, once that stadium schmozzle gets sorted out, I'd say they'll be in a position to go, oh yeah, come to Vegas, baby.
Yeah, I think, you're right. Probably in a few years with, maybe with casino revenues. I don't know. Maybe they can get a better player.
Well, I look at it this way. We look at the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're doing well, despite their mercenary tactics. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think, frankly, it's ownership. Ownership can't run that team properly. They are basically the AFC version of the Cowboys, where they have an insane owner, and it's basically like, okay, insane owner does and says things. He owns the team. What are you going to do?
I saw some football news today that, a couple of NFL teams have added some either minority owners or limited partners. I saw Buffalo added 10 partners, including Vince Carter.
Yeah, now, okay, here's the thing. People seem to think that this is the coming of, okay, at the end of the lease, in the Bills' new playpen, they're going to walk. They're going to go somewhere else. And I'm going, well, first of all, like somebody's floating the idea they come up to Toronto. And I'm like, no, that's never going to happen. Because there's no longer any space viable to build an NFL playpen.
Right. And
they will not play out of the Rogers Mausoleum. So that's off the table. So where does Buffalo go, potentially? And I'm looking and I'm going, there's really no room. And I mean, there is talk again that the NFL wants to expand, which, as far as I'm concerned, is bananas, right? But, they see the $1 billion the $1 billion or $2 billion they can get from expansion fees, and they go, gimme, gimme, gimme. Right? So, and I mean, the other thought is, look, the Pagulas aren't getting any younger, and that by the time of the end of the lease, they may not even own the thing anymore, which is also possible, right? I mean, owners get old. They sell out eventually. And they don't all sell out to mega corporations who can just, keep it forever and ever. Amen. Hello, Rogers Communications, who've now, got MLSE under lock and key now. Forever and ever. Amen.
I see also Joe Tsai is now a minority owner of an NFL team.
Okay, now you'll have to help me because name does not ring any bells to me right now.
Taiwanese Canadian billionaire business magnate, according to his Wikipedia profile. He owns the Brooklyn Nets. He owns the New York Liberty. And now he owns, I think, like a 3% stake of the Miami Dolphins.
My condolences to him. Only 3% of that trash fire?
Okay, now you're sounding a little robotic. Okay, now to me it does not sound robotic, but it could be the way that it's being transmitted here. So let's see. Talk a little bit, Neff. Let's see where we at.
Well, let's see. Now that the Bills have, got the division sewn up, now the problem is staying healthy and productive till the end of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
The trick now is our next opponent is the Detroit Lions.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the team with the head coach that likes to bite the kneecaps off of people.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Campbell. And as much as I love the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell, I'm going, okay, look, Dan, take your relaxants, be very calm, be very controlled, and just go to sleep for 4 quarters on Sunday, please.
We only got a few more weeks left before we hit the playoffs now, right?
Well, yeah, because don't forget now it's an 18-week season.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's all about money too, right? And we'll protect our players. I'm like, pfft. Meanwhile, one of your star quarterbacks, Kermit the Frog, excuse me, will now be playing 3 times in 11 days. Between this weekend, Christmas Day, and next weekend. So there's a part of me that wonders if they're going to put, the backup in for one of these 3 games. Because I'm looking at this going, there's a good chance that by the 3rd game, he'll be so worn down that all it will take is like an opposing defense literally, with a tiny shove. And, Kermit is going to go flying, up into the balcony seats, if you know what I mean, that reference. And JR does.
I also wanted to point out about the college football playoff, the first 12-team playoff. And we have, what would we say, Indiana, Notre Dame, I think? 2 Indiana teams in the opening round.
I think so. I'll be honest. I don't follow U.S. college football that closely.
Okay.
But I do know that some of the teams that weren't selected are not very happy. And a couple of them have made noises about saying, oh, yeah, you don't select us again, we're just going to leave the conference and go to another conference where we'll get in. Once our contract is up in the conference we're in right now. And I'm just going, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
I mean, because if NHL teams, for example, could move conferences every time they didn't win, I could tell you half of the Atlantic Division would have been gone years ago. Because Detroit, Ottawa, and Buffalo have no shot at a playoff spot when you have Boston, Florida, Tampa, and Toronto taking up, the 4 spots.
So, yeah, it is, I think it's Indiana and Notre Dame in the first, in the opening bracket. And the winner of that takes on Georgia.
Is that not like walking from a frying pan into a flamethrower? It's like, ooh,
yeah.
Here's your prize. You're about to get crushed.
Well, no, definitely crunch time, or what do they say in the red zone? The witching hour for the football season, if you will.
Ah, yes, red zone. My favorite way to spend a Sunday afternoon, I've got to be honest with you.
Now I can watch
7 hours of commercial-free football starts now.
Right. I shouldn't have interrupted you with that. I was going to say I should have 2 free Sundays now to watch that. So
Well, the funny thing is, with all the games that are now going to be scattered, I think the week of Christmas, it's going to be a pretty light schedule, right? Because I think, I can't remember, is it the week of Christmas where they start with the Saturday games?
Think so.
Or is it? Yeah, okay. So, we'll see a lot more of Mr. Hansen. And then, well, there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's more like, oh dear, he has a lot less to say now that, he's not whipping around, 7, 8 games in the early window and then the late window of 3 to 4 games and then recapping what happened, the past 3 hours.
Let's see if we go up here. I guess they're not counting, it's either that or, they're not, week 16, they're not counting Christmas, but they do have, 2 games on Saturday and then a big slate of games on the Sunday before Christmas. And then we go to week 17. If my iPad will cooperate, which it isn't. Now it wants me to go to week 11. No. Week 17. We'll just have to leave it at that. My iPad isn't working. At least it doesn't want to work on the NFL website anyway.
I was going to say, you haven't updated your iPad to iOS 18.2 yet.
I have. Oh, 18.2. There's a new
18.2 just released today.
Oh, come on. That's a little too soon.
Well, part of it is they have now released the Apple Intelligence for more countries.
Okay.
Including Canada.
Okay. Now, I haven't tried it yet. I just updated all my devices. Well, 18.11 within the last week, so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so, I haven't really tested anything yet. I played around with a few settings. I'll just see how it goes the next few days. I may reverse some stuff because I said, okay, for the iPad, you can combine a few things. You can summarize them smartly, quote unquote. Other stuff on my phone, I'm like, no, I need to see everything. Let me decide.
Right.
But maybe it's going to figure after a couple of weeks, hey, I'm smarter than you. You only need to see X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, we'll see about that.
Here's week 17, finally, if this will load. Yeah, 2 games on Christmas. Wow, there's a Thursday, December 26th game on Prime Video. Was that the Boxing Day matchup?
Well, that would be for us the Boxing Day matchup. Of course, that's when the World Juniors start. So chances are very good I may not be watching the Thursday night game because I always watch the World Juniors. Because I always like seeing the young stars as they're just coming up because you never know. It might be someone who's really hyped that gets into the NHL and has a long career. It might be someone who gets absolutely no hype, zero, and then all of a sudden gets into the NHL in a couple of years and just tears the place up. You never know.
Where's it being held this year?
I think Sweden, now I have to check. Pardon me while I grab my phone.
Sure. So while he checks that, yes, let's see. The last Sunday in December is only 5 games for the NFL in the early time slot. And then there's 1 game at 4 and 1 game at 8. Oh, there are also 5 games not yet scheduled. That's very interesting. So there could be a full slate of games, or some games might be rummaged around as usual.
And I just realized I really didn't pay that close attention. Pre-competition, it's actually Ottawa this year.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, Ottawa, there we go. They're still trying to sell tickets, which I find absolutely frightening.
Well, there goes the opportunity for to use up your vacation time right there.
I have a bad feeling that the price of tickets would be more than I'd be willing to actually, pay, because it appears that there are a few tickets available, but I'm just trying to see here when Canada, because here's the thing. USA will face Germany on Boxing Day, which will be fun. Czechia versus Switzerland is also on Boxing Day. Canada does not play. Oh, they play at 7:30. Okay, so they are playing. This is Finland that they're going to be facing. Now, I just want to see really quick. when do the Americans and the Canadians face off? Because that's usually a barn burner. Because each team, I don't know why, but U.S. and Canada, the kids get together. The young men get together, and holy crap, all heck breaks loose. Okay, let's see here. Oh, it's a New Year's Eve game again. December 31st, 8 p.m.
Oh boy.
Woof.
Oh, that's another way to drop the ball, if you know what I mean.
More like, have a few fireworks go off. More than a few.
Yeah. So, XAR Podcast, we now move on to the land of the rising sun, Neff. And yes, very sentimental for me to return to Namba, Osaka, playing Yakuza Zero. Well, I got a taste of it when I played it a couple of years back. Well, more than a couple of years. What did I say? 2021. And then Bree and I visited the area one night in 2023. And my goodness, we're so happy with how it looks in the game, even finding our little corner where we had our takoyaki balls.
Yeah, I'll say this, watching you play, I'm just going, it's a wonderfully detailed world, but I shudder to think of the violence. It's like, ooh, some of those, finishing moves are like, okay, here's Mortal Kombat in better suits.
Well, when you chuck somebody over the bridge like that, I mean, come on.
Well, it's more like go behind them and, send their neck in one direction while the rest of their body doesn't go that way. Ooh.
But
the worst part is they drool when you do that. And it's like, keep doing it. And I just keep looking at the suit going, ew.
But no, just to go back, Yakuza Zero, chronologically, the start of the Yakuza series, kind of like the way they released the Godfather movies out of order, right? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, the problem was that by the time they made the third one, it's sort of like, all the major stars from the first one were either not available or just didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, okay, let's go back in time. Actually, no, was it the second one they did that? I think it was the second one they did that. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I've watched those series.
But no, we couldn't find the Running Man. I guess maybe they left it out for legal reasons. But you see all sorts of nightlife and the districts of around the Namba area here. Which is Dotonbori. I believe in the game, what did I call it? Sotenbori. And then we have Shinjuku, Kabukicho. In the game is called Kamurocho. But you see a lot of real life brands and everything, which is so cool. Like the crab place that's behind me, you can eat there. The takoyaki stall, the okonomiyaki, the exact same okonomiyaki restaurant we ate in is modeled in the game. The only thing they don't model in there is the window overlooking the canal, which I think was pretty cool to see. So your thoughts about those areas, Neff? Did you feel immersed?
I will say yes. You watch it and it's like, oh my gosh! It's like I say, it's well drawn. It reacts, like that's the thing. The environment reacts to what you do.
Yeah.
Which I think really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course some games it's more like you do something and then nobody notices. The NPCs don't notice. In this game, the NPCs really notice when you start, shall we say, cleaning up the debris.
Yes. But no, I think. To me, Goro is my favorite character in the game, based on my previous play, even though, Kazuma is going to be the protagonist as we go into the next chapters of the game, whenever we get around to it, which seems might be a while because, we're kind of floating several games at one time. We've got Yakuza Zero, we've got the Ace Attorney, and we still have the Oregon Trail, which we have to get to as well. So it's... the head scratcher here. We gotta, juggle everything.
Yeah, you're gonna say the Oregon Trail. I'm going, oh yeah, the Dysentery Diaries.
Now, something I remember from when I played the game before, Yakuza Zero, that is, and going back to playing it now and going around the Namba modeled area, if you will, all these different nightclubs, which you will go and compete with if you go into one of the side quests later in the game, which I'm not going to go into very well, because that would give away a lot of things. But yes, we go around and check out the names of some of these cabarets. We have Club Moon, Club Mercury, Club Mars, Club Jupiter, and Club Venus. And not at all a reference to Sailor Moon, even though, you know, I just thought about this right now, actually, while we're talking about this. You remember the color of Cabaret Moon in the game? It was pink.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury was?
Blue.
Mars was?
Red.
Jupiter was?
Green.
And Venus was?
Yellow.
No Sailor Moon reference at all, I tell you, Neff. Not at all.
Well, here's the thing. If they really wanted to ram it home, there would have been, and it would have been, you know, equality's sake, a Club Endymion. that would have just broken brains, and it would be male hosts as opposed to the female hosts that we see in these other establishments. And it's just like, oh, that would have been so much fun if they had done that.
Oh man, no, you're making me want to try to go around the area a little more when we play it again tomorrow.
I don't think there's a Club Endymion. Or a Club Earth. I don't think so. I think you're out of luck there.
Just goons we gotta fight on the streets is all we gotta do, right?
Yeah, just random goons. We have the Men in Black. We have the bikers. We have the ones that look like they just fell out of a prison. The ones in orange or red, depending on your screen. But it's like
biker gangs. Yeah. So, and apparently you can play shogi as well, which I've never done. I don't know if I want to try that side quest right now.
I think that one would probably be a bit involved because they would have to first teach you shogi. Because they're going to assume that you don't know shogi.
Exactly.
Sort of like you don't know Jack, but with shogi, and then they'd have to actually have the game.
Right.
So.
But no, I think both areas are immersive, but to me, this is the area that I kind of like better out of the two areas you can compete in the game. Now, I did mention earlier on an earlier stream that we played, you can interact with a character eventually that will, quote unquote, travel between the two cities. So you can send money between Majima and Kazuma, Kiryu, one way or the other through this third party. So if you want to send the other character 1,000,000 yen to use later, you can do that.
Okay, so the Yakuza version of Western Union.
Yeah, that's right. Just the loan sharks will drive him over, right?
Mm-hmm. Those charming gents.
Yeah. But definitely looking forward to continuing with the game. It's fun also to go into some of these side quests, but also it also takes up a little time when you go through those side quests as well. So. But
yeah, we had an interesting side quest the other night. Using the latest technology, we had to get batteries for it. And I'm just going, oh yeah, I remember those things.
The bag phones,
not the batteries, but the bag phones. It's like, oh cripes, I'm old.
That was back in the good old days, and I imagine back then it wasn't satellites, but it was actually like cell towers or radio towers that would bounce the signals, right?
Oh, definitely. That would have been in the era of what we would now call 2G, if not 1G.
Yeah.
Back then.
When we talk about this, I keep bringing up the story of my first trip to Japan in 2004 when I flew Continental Airlines. My late grandmother was still alive at the time, God rest her soul. And I tried the very expensive Sprint cell phone call from the plane. I tried to talk to her, and her voice bounced back like 10 seconds later. It was cool.
Yes, the long ago long distance calls. Now, this wasn't a plane, but when we used to call Europe, when it was like 50 cents a minute, and you were like trying to get as much as you could in that short span of time, and it was sort of like you'd get times where it would sound like you'd speak, and there would be this pause, and you'd think they'd hung up on you, and all of a sudden,
thank goodness, now it's a lot easier to do, right?
Yes and no, because VoIP phones, for example, can have those moments where everything works perfectly, and then all of a sudden, we get roboto, we get dropped call, we get the weirdest feedback loop. Needless to say, we've been transitioned to a VoIP system in our office, and I've experienced all of that.
Well, roboto, just like you a moment ago, apparently. We go now into some anime, and I'm still watching Ranma 1/2. I'm still watching Rurouni Kenshin. Still thrilled with everything, but now it looks like another popular character. What is she? Spaghetti, right?
Spaghetti?
Or maybe I'm confusing with somebody else.
From Ranma 1/2, there's Shampoo.
Shampoo. The return of Shampoo.
Okay. How do you go from Shampoo to Spaghetti? Ooh, I wanna hear this story.
I'm gonna admit it. Thank you, Bree. The return of Shampoo in Ranma 1/2. I also have some Ranma 1/2 news pulled up on my iPad, which is back working again. We have another pop-up anime cafe coming up, a Ranma 1/2 cafe, which is going to be open in Osaka and Nagoya in December and January, and in Tokyo sometime in 2025.
Now, my question is, what clientele will show up at this cafe?
Well, you have to make...
The OG otakus, or the new ones who are like, we're discovering Ranma 1/2 for the first time.
Yes.
That's going to be one heck of a crowd.
Oh, yeah. You have to make advance reservations. Kind of like reminds me of when I did the Sailor Moon Cafe that year, and I made the online reservations. For this one, it's not only an online reservation, but also a seating charge that you have to pay as well. So it's...
Oh, dear. I think, what's her name? Kasumi must be running the thing.
But let's see what we have here. Some of the dishes, including from this article I'm reading: Ranma chilled omelet pasta, Ryoga pichan curry, Akane Dora pancake, dorayaki, butterfly pea tea, hot matcha milk tea, Vienna coffee with pumpkin powder and cocoa biscuit. So all the usual sweets you'd find at one of these pop-up locations.
Well, when you're explaining Akane and pancakes, I'm just going, okay, Akane, mallet, that does make a sick kind of sense.
There's also like a few other interesting things, but no, I think I'd go for the... I think I'd like to try that omelet pasta. Egg pasta, kind of mixed together.
I just laugh at the Ryoga curry because I'm like, will you be able to find it? The waiter will put it down and it's gone. Like, where'd it go? It was here a second ago.
Carl, I'm not going to answer your question. His question is, what happens to the waitstaff if you pour water on them? No, thank you.
Well, you never know. It might be, spring of drowned. I don't even want to think about that. No.
Let's see. What else have you been watching, sir? You finished one show and started another?
Well, what happened is I've caught up to one show and started another. So, Dan, I'm up to episode 10. And let me tell you, it's a ride. And there is one episode, I think it's episode 7, where things take a turn so dark that even, Batman would be going, hey, no, this is too much for me. No, I don't like this. So, yeah. And then I started summoned a second time to another world, where the premise is the hero gets blasted back after defeating the big bad, gets blasted back in his own world, grows up again, and then goes back to the world he was summoned to. But 5 years has passed. So he has to try and figure out, okay, what's changed, what's the same. Meanwhile, there's a plot with the big bad that he defeated the first time and apparently didn't actually defeat them. So that's got my attention, because I'm like, how could they make this interesting? Because if he's already beaten them and has all the skills and memories from the first go round,
right?
Shouldn't it in theory be easier? But it's not. And that's what makes it so interesting.
I have a few things, and now I don't know if I'm gonna maybe tackle some stuff on my own with my vacation coming up, but that would be cool if I could maybe clear out a few more items on that list.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm still playing with the Manga Up app and finding new manga to read, and it's just like, my read list on that app is now up to, I want to say, about 15 series. More than the Viz app, which is frightening, because the Viz app I had like 10 or 12. But the Manga Up app has these weird little series, and my favorite of those is Otaku X Gal, where it's basically, your average otaku suddenly gets talked to by the most popular gal in school, and they make this weird friendship because he can do things that she doesn't realize he can do until he actually does them. Like, for example, the very first thing is that she shows him, her painted nails she's very proud of. Unfortunately, they are a sloppy mess. And he tries to be nice and say, they're unique. And she's like, yeah, I knew this didn't work out well. And, somehow comes out because she saw him drawing during class, which she's not supposed to do. And she's like, wait a minute, couldn't you paint these nails? Because I saw you drawing in class. And he's like, oh crap, I've been found out. Okay, I'll try. And it's like, it goes from there. And it's just like, it's weird because every one of his hobbies somehow helps her or her friend, who then becomes, part of this triangle. But then there's one chapter that is hilarious. They go to a pool, and let's just say the girls do not believe what they see when he shows up in swim trunks. And all I'll say to explain the joke is that he was apparently watching a popular weightlifting anime and got sucked into the collaborations with it.
Right.
So he certainly got the benefit of that collaboration, if you know what I mean. Meanwhile, in school, he's wearing the uniform, slumps over, but at this pool, he walks around, and it's just like, oh my god.
I don't know if it's somebody we want to hang out with in real life. My goodness.
I mean, it's hilarious because he's not wearing his glasses; he's wearing contacts, and etc. And he actually gets hit on by another girl while trying to retrieve something for his two friends. And it's weird because this girl / I think almost woman is like, "Can I touch your muscles?" And I'm going, okay, that's creepy. I don't care how, just. Luckily, his two friends, come and grab him and drag him away from this, rather awkward encounter.
I'm looking at my, I was able to call up my Crunchyroll account, and I have all the titles that I have on my list, including some titles that I haven't removed. Because who knows if maybe some random occasion they'll pop up with another season that I don't know about, right?
Well, don't forget, although you might have them in your list, the licenses might expire, and the way the app works, it does not always pull them off your to-watch list.
Okay.
So you might have stuff on your list that you go to watch it, it's not there anymore.
Let's see, what do I have here? Well, we have Rurouni Kenshin, which we're watching in progress. No Longer Allowed in Another World is done. Ranma Nakaneko is done. Freyren, which is a series that we all started when we were visiting with Liz, which was nice, like a Monogatari series. Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, which you suggested, which we finished. I have Rosario and Vampire up high on the list, which I think I watched most of a long time ago.
Now, season 1 or season 2? Because season 1 at least tries to somewhat follow the plot of the manga.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fan service, mind, but it does somewhat try to follow the plot. Season 2, it's like, plot? What plot? We just want to show plot. It's like
they have Kapu 2 as well.
Okay, so yeah. Yes, and the SysCon. Yikes.
Let's see what else here. Spy Family. Well, that's still on the list, even though I've watched the whole thing. Gintama. I've only seen 2 episodes of Gintama.
Now that one, I think there might be a problem. I don't think all the episodes are on Crunchy. I think some of them are on another service.
I see.
I think it might be Netflix. It might be Netflix.
Oh, I see. No, we have all, well, according to this, 367 episodes on Crunchyroll.
Maybe they do have everything. That sounds about right.
Hinomaru Sumo is a series I tried to start, haven't started. Let's see. Solo Leveling. What's Solo Leveling?
I think it's one of those brought into another world. And I can't remember if that's the one where the MC gets, these weird powers because he comes in late and last and basically gets the dregs. But it turns out that the dregs are more useful.
Right.
But one of the powers he gets is that he wants to be alone. So even though his schoolmates, sometimes need his help, and he does help them on occasion, it's like, okay, after I'm done, I'm out of here. If that's the one I'm thinking of.
Horimiya.
Okay, the manga I started, and it's interesting. I don't think I've started the anime yet. Again, that might be something I do with all this extra free time that I suddenly have. And there are a couple that are starting next year, which is only a month away, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm watching that, and I don't care what I have to do to watch that stuff.
Let's see what else here. Couple of Cuckoos, which I've watched. Uma Musume, obviously. This must have been a suggestion from you. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You.
Yes, I've gotten into that, and then I stopped because I was watching something else. I've got to get back to that again now that I have some time, because series like that, you really need to watch 3 or 4 episodes to really get into the plot and get into the setup to really be sucked in.
Let's see. Run with the Wind. I meant to continue that. Run with the Wind is the anime based on the Hakone Ekiden road race that universities compete in every year, right after the New Year's, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of like a sports anime. I have Ace of Diamond. I have not seen beyond season 1. Let's see. Sword Art Online, I've only seen 1 episode. It's at the bottom of my list.
Well, I'll be honest, I only ever saw 1 season because the first half was great. The second half made me angry. I finished it out of sheer spite. But it was like, no, if this is what you're going to do to the characters, I can't do this.
And a few others. Let's see. My Hero Academia I haven't watched. I could have become a hero, so I reluctantly decided to get a job. That's probably another one of your suggestions.
Yeah, and that one's fun because it's like, wait a minute here. It really needs a dub. Like there are some series I'm watching that only have subtitles, which means
Including
I'm
this
stuck
one,
with
yeah.
it. But it's like, okay, there are some that really could use a dub, so that you could really concentrate on the scenery, the dialogue when you fully understand it, and the nuances, right? Because subtitles will only get you the wording, right? It's not quite as good as having the inflections and knowing what the inflections actually mean.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm putting him to sleep, folks. He's
No. I'm just staggered by the long list of things here to watch that I've added to watch at some point, and who knows when I'll get around to it. I must have had a few of these titles on for years.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Oh, yes, I can. Let me see what my watch list looks like, just for sheer yikes. Okay, let's see. Come on, app. Oh, this is great. The Crunchyroll app is apparently crashing on me. That's always fun. Okay, now let's see. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay. My watch list. Summon to Another World for a Second Time. Dan Dan Dan. Yakuza Fiancé. Raze wa Taningai. Which I haven't started yet because subtitled only. No Longer Allowed in Another World. Love is Indivisible. Love is Indivisible by Twins. That's okay. It's getting there. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. Now the problem is it's sub and it's dub, but it's not English dub. It's Hindi, and I'm going, well, since I don't understand Hindi, sub it is.
I saw one of them like that. Hang on a second.
And then
Soul
Leveling,
yeah.
Chilling in Another World with level 2 super cheat powers, which is absolutely nuts. The Cafe Terrace and Its Goddesses, Girlfriend, My Dress Up Darling, Tales of the Wedding Rings, Banished from the Heroes Parties, I Decided to Live a Normal Life, Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again. Very sweet series, that one. Let's see here. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. Should I have to start watching again? Let's see. Okay, Beast Tamer. Tomo-chan is a girl. Zaki-chan wants to hang out. Baka and Tess summon the beasts. God, that's one where the main character is so dumb. How dumb is he? Let me put it this way: if you gave him a glass of water and you said, "Drink it," and then in the meantime, while he's drinking it, you say, "I'm poisoning you with H2O," he'd spit it out because he wouldn't know that H2O is water. Shikamori is not just a cutie. How a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. Let's see. Overlord, Lupin the Third. Okay, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which I have to get back to. Combatants will be dispatched. I mean, some of these I started and just sort of. Oh, here's an old one, Freezing, where the premise is okay, but somehow it just kind of falls off.
Liz says Overlord is so good.
Yeah, Overlord is good. The only problem is that, there are a couple of characters in that series where it's just like, no. Watching this character just, just no.
Let's add Overlord to my watch list as well, just for kicks.
Oh, the Helpful Fox Senko-san. Now this we're getting into old stuff. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh yes, Shibano the boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist.
Now, for some of these, kind of reference to what you said earlier, Neff, you say that sub Hindi, but it seems like for some of these titles, Crunchyrolls will just randomly list, sub languages or dub languages. Dub Hindi, dub Portuguese, dub German in the case of Soul Leveling. And then if you look at the series details, Soul Leveling has audio in English, Italian, German, Spanish, Latin American Spanish, Portuguese, French, Korean, Hindi, and a couple of other languages.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. If you know another language and then you watch some of these other series in that other language that you know, and then you're really going, wait a minute here. This sounds really, really weird. I mean, for me, it's German, and like some of the voice acting is really good, and some of it's just like, okay, you're just reading here. You're not putting anything into this. You're just reading it for the job.
You watch German Sailor Moon again.
You know, a couple of the actors and actresses really do good, and then a couple are just like, if you were any more wooden, there'd be a woodpecker at your head. And it ain't Woody.
Oh boy! So on this note, we're gonna wrap up the podcast. But yeah, I think we all got a lot of things on our plate as far as watching anime, which we'll have to report back on.
And like I said, I'll be reading some more of the manga, and one of the manga. If you do subscribe to the Manga Up service and you have the unlimited, one of the ones that I really really like, just for the sheer bananas of it, because it is such a bizarre concept that actually works. Let me just pull out the title because it's one of those long title ones. Okay, let me see here. Okay, the teen web novelist is a girl magnet. Now my crush feels bad for rejecting me. And it's one where it's this kid who is basically actually a mangaka. Actually, no, he's a light novel author.
Right.
Light novel author, successful series, merchandise, the whole 9 yards. And turns out he was doing this all because he wanted to, as a youngster, help his childhood friend who was dealing with a lot of trauma because mother died, father, didn't want to be around her because it reminded him of the deceased. And so, I'll spoil this much. He does confess to her. She turns him down flat. And I mean flat. She is mean about it. And then that spirals off into him deciding to quit. Then his editor comes along, convinces him no longer to quit. And then things just start moving from there. And we're at the point with this one now where, like, there's 3 other girls and the original, childhood friend who is now, decided, oh, maybe I do like him. And like I said, there is a scene in chapter 13 that is so cathartic for all those tsundras who really pushed, and pushed and pushed until somebody finally says, enough.
Well, I gotta check to see what sort of subscription I have. I think it might include some manga, but I have to, it's another thing I have to kind of investigate. Maybe it's not on this app where I can get the manga.
I was going to say, the Manga Up app does allow you to read like 3 or 4 chapters at a time. If you don't have a subscription, then you have to build up experience points unless you are willing to buy coins or, as I do, pay a monthly subscription fee, which gets you everything except the most 3 recent chapters.
Interesting. So microprocessing then.
Which I don't mind missing the latest 3 chapters. I can wait because the minute the next chapter comes out, then they release one of the 3 that was behind the extra paywall. So, I just look forward to it. And I have, like I said, actually, let me count this because I'm just curious now that are ongoing right now. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 16 series right now that are going on right now. I mean, I have more that I've read, but they finished, right? But it's like 16 ongoing series. Yikes.
Oh, something I forgot before we go off the air, regards to Japan's wonderful bullet trains and the special theme trains as well. The One Piece bullet train is going to make its debut in March of 2025. I believe March of 2025, replacing the Hello Kitty bullet train. And in fact, there are going to be 3 One Piece bullet trains.
Okay, Hello Kitty replaced by,
Luffy
and the pirates. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun.
Put up ransom posters all over the train cars, right?
Mm-hmm. Or they'll have clues to where the One Piece is.
Yeah, right. Now that's something I wanted to call up real quick before we signed off. The fact that yes, it's going to be marine themed bullet trains going in the section between Osaka and then further west in Japan to Hakata Station in Fukuoka on the island of Kyushu, which is where all the other specialty bullet trains have run previously / currently. Hello Kitty now, and the Evangelion bullet train that I rode before, which has since been retired. Now I think they're going to take, at least the first one is one of the 700 series bullet trains, the one with the duckbill nose, and they're going to redo the paint, and at least 2 of the inside cars will be redone, but I don't know how much work else they're going to do with that. But it'll be interesting to see how that looks when it comes out.
I find myself going, they really do these collabs, and it's very interesting, like the series they choose and then how they execute it, because they seem to always pick, popular series, but the execution is still so good. Because sometimes you'd see it would just be a cash grab. Like over in North America, it would simply be a cash grab. A few stickers on the train, and that'd be the end of it.
Right.
But in Japan, they actually put the effort, the passion into it.
Right. I'm looking this up again for One Piece train. First result is C train. No, I don't want the C train. But yeah, if you go to a place like Soda News, you see all painted in blue. So the entire train is painted blue with these white lines and sea waves and stuff.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like, well done. They put the effort in, and again, that's a good collab to me. It's like, okay, you've put in the effort, you made it look good, you've done your job.
So I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the weeks and months to come. But that will wrap it up for the podcast. We go now to the closing commentary.
If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or complaints about this podcast or any of our Twitch streams, drop us a line at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. Go to linktree.com/animeradio, and there you'll find links to all of our social media platforms, including Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, our Discord server, our YouTube channel, and archive versions of this podcast, which are available at XARpodcast.net. That's XARpodcast.net, or your favorite podcasting platform.
Couple of housekeeping things. We're going to continue on here later here with Wheel of Enormous Proportions. We're going back to Jackbox tonight after our podcast. So if you're watching us live, that will be coming up. And Yakuza Zero will continue tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. Now, the rest of this month, as far as streams go, it's going to be a little weird because the big holidays are on a Wednesday this year. Christmas is on a Wednesday, and obviously New Year's is on a Wednesday as well. I would like to try to get at least one more podcast done before the year is out. Ideally, I would like to get one before Christmas so that we can gather everybody on the Discord, everybody being me, Neff, Liz, Bree, and Karam, and we do what's sitting over here on my desk, which is the Christmas Mad Libs.
Ah, yes. Mad Libs and Christmas theme. This is going to be fun.
So
Santa will probably be delivering anvils this year to bad little boys and girls.
Anvils made of coal.
No, anvils are usually made out of steel.
I know that. I'm trying to be a little easy,
No, if you're a bad little boy or girl, you get the anvil. You get the Wile E. Coyote treatment. Wham!
Thunk. Exactly. Well, we will, Liz would take an anvil. Okay. You get an anvil, Liz.
You get an anvil, and you get an anvil, and you get an anvil.
Everybody gets an anvil.
And why did I suddenly turn into Oprah Winfrey? Don't ask me.
That has happened a few times in the past.
That I've turned into Oprah Winfrey?
Yes.
That's news to me.
No, we'll talk about that later then. But everybody stick around and keep on supporting us. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in and following us. And one more thing I wanted to add is that hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to enable our new contest on our streams where you can spin and spend your coins on Twitch for a fantastic prize that Liz has put together. So maybe as part of that downtime, I will try to get that rigged and set up so that we can finally deploy it now that we're getting close to the most wonderful time of the year.
Well, you might want to rephrase that, boss. You know, don't use the R word.
The what?
Rigged.
Oh. Rig
that has bad connotations in some places.
So if I said we will set it up.
Exactly.
Hashtag rigged. There you go, Liz.
There we go. Exactly. I guess it's my problem is it's all the sports gambling ads I'm subjected to. It's like ugh.
That needs to be a new mascot we put on the screen, holding up a screen that says hashtag rigged. We'll have to set that one up. But in the meantime, folks, once again, hopefully we get one more podcast out before the year is over. And we will be checking in with you guys on our social media and our Discord. We'll let you guys know when those are scheduled. But in the meantime, we thank you for watching and listening to the podcast. For Neff, I'm JR. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Radio Twitch streams. And don't forget, archive versions of this podcast are available at XARpodcast.net. That's XARpodcast.net or your favorite podcasting platform. Good night, everybody.
See you next time, folks.